I outranked the other men. I'm just better now. I'm better than all the men. Hey y'all, Pat the Vat here. Today, I'm gonna react to a dbdr video called Brotherhood, Male Friendships in Competition. You might be asking, Kat, why are you reacting to this? And here's why. I'm a professional when it comes to male relationships. Why are you a professional? You know, that's a good question. That is, why am I a professional? Maybe because I leveled up. I was a man. I leveled so high at being a man that I became woman. I outranked the other men. I'm just better now. I'm better than all the men. So I feel like I'm a professional, and I'm like, you know how like on the sports ball thing when they like get the old sports ball players to come on and talk about the new sports ball players.
No, I was too fat to get rib injuries. I had too much cushion there, Shannon, but thanks for asking.
More cushion for the pushing, they say. They always say that about you, Mark.
And it is good.
That's what it's gonna be like. And don't hate me already, because I imagine, you know, a lot of the times I see it. So yes, let's begin.
Alright, today I want to talk about brotherhood and why I pretty much don't believe in male friendship anymore. And I had this thought the other day how, you know, humans are animals, and just like animals, humans are also extremely oblivious to our own human nature, despite how intelligent we are. And people will always find a way to cope.
People do find ways to
How
cope.
absurd it is. Like, let's say, for example, you're losing your hair and, you know, you're Googling, you just can't cope with it. You're Googling all these articles like, oh, the benefits of hair loss. And, you know deep down that there probably aren't any. But you're still Googling away, just trying to cope. And you find this one article out of the 1,000 that you read that was probably written by another bald coper that says, if you're losing your hair, then that means that your potassium is increased by 1,000%.
Oh no!
And you go around telling everyone, hey guys, look at this. I'm losing my hair, and that means that my potassium is increased by 1,000%. And I'm sure we all stumble upon people like this. Stay away from them.
Eat less bananas.
And you know damn well too, if you weren't losing your hair, you wouldn't give a fuck about any of that stuff. It's funny how you don't have to think about anything until it's a problem.
I do care if you're losing your hair. Listen, there's a trick. I'm on this subreddit. It's called Tressless. Just for fun. But it's because I look up finasteride information on Reddit. If you take finasteride, it can regrow your hair. And it actually has been helping me. Fun fact, in my transition, I didn't realize this, but apparently my hairline did move back a little bit. But the finasteride, it's like I see new baby hairs growing in the front. I just got put on finasteride as like an anti-androgen.
Like, that's why no one will ever understand your subhuman life, because it's not a problem to them.
Listen.
Like, it wouldn't even make sense for them to even ever understand it. Like, for example, let's say, like, it wouldn't make sense for me to just one day join a breast cancer support group.
Okay, Tyler Durden, that's a cope. Listen. I care about you. And you know who else cares about you? Tina cares about you. You're just living your life, right? And people are likely very mean to you for reasons out of your control. Likely because you're a little bit neurodivergent. You probably have had some not so great life experiences. You got exposed to a socialization that's kind of cucking, right? It's a little bit cuck-worthy. So it's not a good thing. But I care about you. So don't listen to dbdr when he says nobody cares about you. Kat the Vat cares about you.
Because it's never been a problem for me. I don't understand it. And you know, everyone in that group has probably had breast cancer. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You know, that's why it's so easy for, very smart, attractive, wealthy people to be like, oh, well, it was all about hard work and, nothing else. Like, they discredit things because it was never an issue. So they think, oh, it had to have been hard work. It just had to be. But, aside from that, I wanted to say how...
Wait, is that the end of the point? I agree. People will come on and be like, oh, it was all hard work. It was all my hard work. When they, like, got born into daddy's buddy, right? You got born and your parents owned a fucking diamond emerald mine confirmed by your dad in 4K, bro. Get ousted. Yeah, so I do agree with the DBDR there. That, like, a ton of people are gonna be like, oh, you gotta pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You gotta knuckle up and do your shit. You gotta fucking feel your worker productivity skyrocket and you'll be gloriously recaponstintated.
I think a main reason why dating now is so hard is because, or why it's like such a quote-unquote big issue, is because the survival aspect is pretty much gone in first world countries, and I think with
Fair.
humans, the two main things that we're here for is to survive and reproduce. We
Not
all
me.
have these same
not why I'm here.
instincts, and the survival aspect is gone. I mean, for example, let's say, like, on my way to work, I get in my car, drive. I don't have to worry about getting chased by a bear or an animal, a tiger, pretty much, anything. I don't have to worry about hunting for my food. I don't have to worry about the environment, for shelter at night. I just come home to my shitty house. I guess, of course, like, yes, this depends on where you live, but it's funny because it's just completely gone. And have you
No need
ever
for
run into
survival.
one of these purpose finder copers before? It's the most, like, absurd shit in the world. Like, these people are too dumb to realize that, like, the reason why they feel this way is because they can have access to all the food they want whenever they want. They don't have to worry about anything at all. They go to work, come home, go to work, come home. What's my purpose? What's my purpose? It's like, I guess, like, the best way I could describe it.
Your purpose is to
It's
work.
like, if you've ever played a video
Get
game,
at your
like,
job.
complete everything on it, like, do just 100% everything, and then you're like, now what? Now what do I do? What else is there to do? Like, what?
You buckle up and you go to your job and you work hard. That's what your boss would say. That's not what I'm saying, though. Fuck your boss. I don't care about your boss. Fuck productivity copes. I agree. dbdr, fuck those productivity copers.
What the hell? And then of course, this is how these people end up doing that whole, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? I've been friends with this one dude who, he was on I think he still is, but, he was on SSDI at 18 somehow, and every time I hung out, I got to, like, a level of delusional, guys. Like, he basically would sit at home all the time, and every time I ever hung out with him, which was, like, not that much, like, once in a blue moon, he would always be saying shit like, oh, I gotta find my purpose, and he would tell me, like, how he would, like, pay this, like, spiritual guru to, like, tell him about shit and try and find his purpose. And I remember one time he was telling me he paid this girl to, I don't remember what it was called, but basically what he did was, like, he laid down and she, like, said some shit, and, like, he was, like, in a deep, like, meditative state, and he was, like, reviewing his, like, past lives and shit, and he said some shit like that. When in one of his past lives, he was getting chased by a dinosaur with his friend, and his friend got eaten, and then he got stomped on. And he's like, dude, trust me, that was one of my past lives. And I'm like, okay. Like, it was just on a level of fucking delusional. And then all of a sudden, he downloads Tinder, gets a girlfriend, and funny how all of that purpose bullshit just goes out the window. Like, right, he's just like, oh, I got a new girl now, and life's good. It's like, okay, cool, good to hear. But he just completely just stopped that whole purpose coping shit.
He didn't, though. He didn't. His purpose became the girlfriend. The girlfriend became his purpose. Oh my gosh. Her needs became his needs. Because he wants to stay with her. He wants to subset himself to her because he likes her. And then he's like, no, please, baby, let me do any of your needs. And then he doesn't need to purpose cope anymore, because why would he need to purpose cope if he doesn't need to make his own purpose? He can just go with the purpose of the relationship and with his girl. Maybe. Or I don't know this guy, so.
I don't know. I just found that very interesting.
I don't know either.
Now, as a man, you're pretty much here to compete with one another. Let me give, like, a scenario, like, the best way I can, like, describe it. So let's say there's 100 women left on the planet, but there's one man. So one man, 100 women, end of the world. It would work. That one man can repopulate the whole planet with, all those 100 women. And there probably wouldn't be any fighting, nothing really, going on. But let's say there is 100 men and one woman.
This is dubious!
All hell would fucking break loose.
Yeah, it would.
Like, they would be competing. Only one of them would probably get to repopulate with her. And it wouldn't work. It really just wouldn't work for the continuation of our species at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. But also, I saw this other thing that was like, it was something along the lines of, like, the last guy on Earth thinking about, like, if all the men except for one are killed and there's all the women versus, like, one woman is killed versus all the men. And she's like, I would just kill myself. Like, I'm not about to let myself get, like, raped by all of the men because I'm the last woman alive. Like, this is not happening for these fucking men. This made me think of that. Sorry, dbdr, to bring it up.
That's why young fertile women are so valuable and why they're accepted.
There
everywhere.
you go. There you
and
fucking
it's
go,
funny too, because
dbdr.
like I would always have this question for as long as I can fucking remember, because I would always see it in like the movies, basically just like everything, like even in life, just like shit like this, where, you know, for in high school, let's say there's a kid and his dad, you know, the kid hooks up with some girl and the dad's high-fiving, yeah, buddy, you got that action, you know, some boomer dad, you got that action, buddy, you know, fucking high-fiving him. But on the other hand, let's say, you know, it's a dad and the daughter hooks up with some guy, he's going, where is he? Where is he? I'm gonna fucking kick his ass, where is he? It's because I think subconsciously as a species we know that
No.
it's way, way harder. Like the competition is way less for women and it's so much more for men. Nah.
That's not why. The reason why is because boomer dad over there has shitty socialization that says, oh, men need to go fuck. Because that's all men need is fuck. And then with a daughter, he's like, no, my precious daughter, she's supposed to be perfect and pure and perfect. Anyways, so that's why she gets like, I'm gonna shotgun your boyfriend, don't bring him here, where the fuck is he? Whereas with the boy, it's like, yeah, you slang that. Because really, what the dad is not considering in this moment, what the dad is not considering, is that the girl, unless the dad is just a very big gay rights advocate, right? And the son is just out there knocking back dude after dude, sucking cock after cock, taking cock after cock up his ass, fucking asshole after asshole. That is a possibility. Or that son is going out and having sex with somebody else's daughter. Oh. And how would he feel about that person's daughter? He probably wants to fuck her too, because he has these brainworms in his head that just say like, oh, you fuck. Anyways, that's why I personally think that is. I don't think it's because of a biological reality that we just know. I think it's because of socialization that tells us that, like, men need to fuck, and women need to be pure, or they're not good anymore. Which isn't really, like, real, you know? Like, I don't know. I feel like judging the value of a person based on their sexual ability in any measure, either for, like, yo, you're good because you fuck too much, or you're good because you don't fuck at all, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of dumb. Like, I don't know. People have sex, but I don't understand why we're judging people for it, you know? Anyways.
Now, what I wanted to say, too, is that, you know, many people tell me, like, I've heard this where the normies will say, bro, like, I can see where you're coming from, like, genetics, bro, like, yeah, they can have an influence on your dating life, bro.
Am I a
but,
normie?
like, for friendships, bro, it shouldn't matter.
Am I a normie? No, I'm not a normie!
If you're unattractive, because friends are just friends. But I'm pretty sure we can all relate to this where, you know, growing up in school, there was always that one or just, like, handful of kids that, you know, were tall and attractive that everybody wanted to be friends with. And there's a reason for this. What do they have that you don't? They have access to all these
Not autism, that's for sure.
girls. They're wanted everywhere. They
Maybe.
have social lives. And you think to yourself, well, if I become friends with this guy, then maybe he'll invite me to a party and then
Probably
maybe
not.
I'll get laid.
They don't like you.
Because,
Me
you know,
neither.
all human
didn't
interactions
like me.
are
They like me a little
transactional.
bit
People
more
do
now.
anything to benefit themselves. There's no such thing as, well, he's my friend, and yeah, it's always transactional.
So the thing about transactionalness is that, like, even if I want to do things for my own benefit, it can benefit me to benefit my friends. It benefits me to help other people. It's kind of just like game theory, really. If everybody's out to kill each other, we're all gonna fucking suffer. That's a crab mentality. We're all just fucking... But if we're all out here helping each other, I don't know. It feels like it makes more sense to do that. And, like, I want my friends to succeed. I want them to do well. I want them... Yeah, I want them to succeed. I want them to, like, benefit themselves. Because I want myself to benefit, and I want them to want me to benefit, and, like, yeah. That's kind of the idea. But ultimately, I do kind of agree that, like, everybody is self-serving in some regard. Even if you self-serving is, like, sacrificing yourself for somebody else, you're still serving yourself for them. Like, you are getting something out of it. Yeah. This is kind of the idea. But, like, people do get trapped in really shitty situations, and then they think that they're doing things for other people. when really they're not. They're kind of just like stuck in a situation with a person who's taking advantage of them. So that's another thing, and that especially happens with like family and like partners and things like that. Anyway.
All the time. That's just how we are as a species. Oh well. But let's say you have the opposite. Let's say you have some, subhuman dude in the corner of the cafeteria on his fucking Game Boy, bald spot. And you're looking at him, you're like, oh, he has no access to girls. He's got no friends. He's not going to offer anything to my life. This guy's got nothing to offer. Now, it's so funny. I've been hearing this for, like, ever. Even some girl at work said, she was like, your problem is that you need a hobby. Like, honestly, you should try trivia night. And she was just, like, telling me all this stupid bullshit.
Yeah, you should just try trivia, bro. You need a hobby. You need to go out and just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's fucking stupid. No, it doesn't make any sense. But I don't think that everybody will dislike the people that you mention. I think that sometimes people are more critical, but, like, anyways, I'm not gonna sit here and, like, I don't know, transplain this to you, but, like, I don't know. I think you should watch some of Tina's content, watch some of my content, see what you think.
And I've done so many niche hobbies and, like, so many, like, unique things, especially when I was younger, that no one ever gave a fuck about. When I made music and, like, in school, I got made fun of that shit so much. Like, with people like me, like, no matter how hard you try at finding, like, some cool, like, niche hobby, it always comes across as cringe.
I would argue that that's, like, that way for, I don't know if it's most people, but that's my experience as well, is that, like, I don't know, people don't care about your hobbies unless, again, it's benefiting them. Like, for example, if I make music, people don't think it's cool. They think it's kind of, I don't know, they think it's kind of lame. They think it's kind of loserish. If I make a Discord bot that's, like, able to interact with people that are into that shit will think it's cool. My friends don't think it's cool. I don't really have many friends anymore, but, like, the 2 or 3 that I showed didn't think it was that cool. None of my family thought it was cool. That shit made me so sad when I made that shit. But anyways, people on the internet thought it was cool. People IRL did not think it was cool. But that's also why the internet is based, because you can find people with similar interests. But that's also kind of why it's not based, because you can get, like, stuck with only people that have similar interests. And then, like, you can just get stuck with that, like, clump of people. Because the internet's, like, a big place, but it's really a small place when you think about, like, where you're spending your time on it, right? Like, I spend my time in specific communities that other people also spend their time in, and I'll see those people, right? But I'm not going to see somebody that spends their time in, like, soccer communities, right? I don't spend time in soccer communities. That's not where I am. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what's popping for me. That's not what's happening. Anyways, let's keep it going.
Because of this halo effect you have. And I'm sure if you ever look up, like, any cringe compilations, these videos usually go the same way all the time. It's a bunch of subhuman people enjoying their copes. The running joke of it is not what they're doing. It's the fact that they're subhuman. It's just, like, anything you really do, like, if you try to enjoy something, find some new hobby, like, people just don't care. They just don't give a shit. And what you have to understand.
I do actually agree with that. I think it's so fucked up how, like, cringe compilations are generally just neurodivergent people. Or, like, people just living their lives, right? Just enjoying themselves. And it's people that have been, like, exposed to extreme amounts of trauma. They're, like, autistic, they have ADHD, they have other, like, anxiety disorders. They have, like, fears about not being accepted. They might not really know who they are in their identity. Like, these are all things that are super common, and people will just make fun of these people and be like, but, like, what the fuck? It's so stupid. Anyways, I do agree that it's fucked up that it happens. I do agree that it happens, and I don't really watch cringe compilations or, like, I don't know, like, funny fails anymore, because it's just people getting hurt and, like, making fun of people that are not stereotypically great, right? Like, it's dumb.
Too, is that the average person, they don't care about anything that's not mainstream. Like, if you approach a group and go, hey guys, I know this amazing album from the 1950s, especially my generation, they're gonna be like, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's why, like, I dabble in, like, fucking mainstream stuff, because, that's all people talk about. You can make small talk out of it. I mean, people don't care about, like, underground, like, unique things anymore. Or I don't know if they ever did, actually, but
I agree. And that's, again, like, people IRL, it's really difficult for me to find people with similar interests IRL. But like, that's why I like the internet so much, is you can find people that have interests that are similar to you, and like you can find people that are interested in things that you're interested in, and I don't know. That's why the internet's based, and that's why I like to make videos, because like people find me that can relate to what I say, and they think like in similar ways sometimes, and like maybe they disagree, but then I get to learn about their disagreements rather than just being stuck in my own like perspective, right? Which is good. I like that shit. So yeah, YOLO for Cocoa Puffs. Yummy, yummy.
What I also wanted to talk about too was the whole, bros before hoes.
Bros before hoes.
Which I think I've mentioned it before, but
Bros become hoes.
that there has to be a quote in place for this just shows it isn't true. It's the same thing with the whole, it's what's on the inside, because virtue signaling is law, and I seriously can't pinpoint a time in my life where this whole bros before hoes was ever true. Anytime, like, my friends ever had a girlfriend growing up, they always, and I could never understand this too, how basically they would act like they've known these girls forever. Like, they would be dating for like a week, and they'd be like, oh my god, I love you, I'm gonna be with you forever. They'd spend like 24/7 together, and I'm thinking in my head, like you've known me for like so many years, yet you're acting like you've known this girl your whole life. Like, I always was so confused about it.
Don't be, because she becomes his purpose. I said this in the beginning. She becomes his purpose. That's the male socialization, is like, go find a woman and let her fill your purposes. Let her control your life. Be her, like, doer. Be her utility. Let her use you. Oh, yeah. Anyways, I feel that. But also, I think when people say the, like, I don't know, bros before hoes thing, I think it gets played out less on an individual level. I do think, I agree with you, that, like, guys will, like, get a hoe, they'll get a girlfriend or something, and then they'll, like, abandon their guy friends to a large extent. But also, I think on like a larger level, I think it's, like, maybe you're more likely to stand with one of the guys if you are a guy and you feel like inclined into like in-grouped into guys than you would be to like stand with a girl, because you're gonna be like, oh, that's a girl, like we think differently, even if it's not super true. Like, there are these like thoughts that people tell us all the time that like, you think so differently from this person, you're so different from this person, you're very different from this group of people, you're not like this group of people, you aren't this, you aren't this. They like try and fit you in these boxes and tell you what you can and can't be and what you are and aren't, and they try to tell them what they can and can't be, and like, I think it's dumb when people do it, and it frustrates me, and like, I don't know, that's all I got. I don't know, let's keep it going, let's keep it packing, let's keep it talking.
A short intermission. Please use this time to go to the restroom or restock your refreshments. I hope you're enjoying the show.
It really is, because, they have something that you can't ever offer, pretty much is how it goes.
You could offer
and,
it. Yeah, I think you could offer it up.
It is what it is, but
it is what it is.
I even remember, I'll never get over this comment, but this was like a year ago. I made a video called Why You're Forgotten, which basically, why you're forgotten is because, like, how it went was women, they live such a fast-paced life compared to yours. Like, they're always accepted everywhere. They're always, meeting new people, talking to new people. Their day-to-day life is such a more faster pace than men's. And I was basically saying, like, yeah, that's the reason why you're forgotten. And I think I said, like, if you're at like a college party, because I used to go to these stupid college frat parties because I had a friend that was in one. I got like lucky enough to like go to them. Nothing ever happened at them. It was just always like a fucking disaster. But basically, like, I was saying, like, they just hate you there. They see you as competition. These guys, if you've ever been to an unratioed college party where you don't really know anybody, they hate you. They see you as competition.
Well, yeah, of course. You're like, okay, listen. They want, listen, right? They're there. They want to have sex with somebody. That's likely, probably on some of their minds, right? It's frat boys. You're using stereotypes, I'm using stereotypes, okay? They're likely there. They're trying to have sex with somebody. You're also there trying to have sex with somebody. Of course you're competition. They're, like, in the game of, like, trying to have sex. Y'all are, like, hunting each other. Or hunting against each other. You're competing against each other. But I don't really know if it is a competition, because, like, if you focus on I hate to, oh God, I don't mean to be like, do a purpose cope, but like, imagine that if instead of getting a girlfriend and giving her your purpose, right, letting her fill your purpose, what if you became your own girlfriend and you filled her purposes, right? Like, what if I don't exist and Kat's just my girlfriend and I'm just filling out Kat's life, right? What does Kat want? What does Kat want to do with her life? That's what I'm doing, bestie. YOLO, right? Just you can live a life that might have other ways of purpose that are not so caught up in these like socialization stickinesses that you may have learned your life. And because I learned them too, trust me, they're not based. They're fucked, honestly. They're fucked for me as an individual and for like everybody else too.
And this dude basically said, like, bro, like, you're crazy, man. Like, people just go to parties to have fun. It was, like, something like that, but, like, it just pissed me off. And, like, I'm telling you, like, if you've ever been to one before, they hate you. And I will always remember this one time where, the thing was, like, so
Plus, if it's strangers, they're also going to dislike you, right? Like, I imagine if you were maybe rushing the fraternity, if you were in a fraternity, you would be able to have connections with those people there, and they would like you more.
You'd be part of
than
the
if you're just a stranger, right? Like you're somebody's plus one. They don't really know you. Not as like a offensive way, just like I don't know. You know people, and you like people that you know more than you like people that you don't know. At least me personally, that's how I feel.
Ratio, there's like nobody at my friend's frat. Like it was just like completely dead. And they're like, oh, let's see if we can get into another one. And I remember this one kid saying, we probably won't be able to. Like, the girls will get in free, but we're probably going to have to pay, like, you know, maybe $20-$30. And, you know, just like that alone, it's just... And my mom, you know, it's funny, too, because my mom would always say shit like that. Like oh, when I was younger, I would go everywhere. I partied so much. I went here and I did this. And
that's the childhood brainworms that I was just talking about. Because from a young age, we hear our parents saying all this shit. And trust me, my mom, she did the same shit. Oh, my God. I learned most of my negative socialization regarding gender from the stereotypes that my mom held about men and women, right? My dad doesn't talk enough to pass on most of this shit that he knows. Like, of course, he's holding me to standards, right? But, like, his actual words are a lot less intensive than the words that my mom is always talking about how men act and how women act and how things are supposed to be. Ugh. Anyways.
Guys just thought I was cute and I would get let in anywhere I wanted to go. And, you know, all the guys, it's just such a different life. You know, it's just you can't.
I also want to bring up the fact that, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the idea that, like, if something is free, you are the product, right? Like, you go on Google and you search something and you are the product. They're selling your data. Social media, they're selling your data. You are the product. Women are free because they are the product. Guys want them there, and if women had to pay to get there, they're probably not going to come as they're not as likely to come, right? And the guys want them there because they want the product. So your mom, she was being used by the guys around her. And that is the society that she lived in, so she had to do what she had to do or whatever. But, like, your mom was playing the game. Your mom was entering into the land of Google, and she was having some advertising data sold, more than likely. Even if it was just to, like, look at her, right? Like, I don't know, that's the idea.
Can't even comprehend it, you know? But I remember one of my friends, he went up to the door, and he came back and said, like, they threatened him. They were like, dude, get the fuck out of here. We're going to beat the shit out of you. Like, how funny is that, you know? And then all of a sudden, you know, a couple minutes later, some girls walk in, you know?
Because they're the product.
But yeah, you're pretty much
Y'all are competition, like you're about to say. Y'all are competition. They're the product. They want more of the product, right? Like, let's pretend you're a drug addict, right? Do you want other drug addicts around you, or do you want more drugs? Right.
I don't know if I said it before, but when you fail, you know, if you're failing at something, everyone else around you gets a dopamine boost, you know, because it's just less competition for you. You know, people get happy when others fail. It's funny because like I always see like those YouTubers that like give out stuff like to the homeless. They're like, oh, you know, I don't know why society's so messed up, man. Like everyone loves to watch each other fail and drag each other down. It's just so unfair. It's like, well, no shit.
That was like
because
I don't know.
competition is less and less and less. Wouldn't you fucking love to be at the top? You got no competition. Nothing matters. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Me personally, I kind of feel awkward about the idea of making it to the top, right? Like, if I can make it to the top, how would I live there in good conscience when, like, so many people are, like, starving and, like, not at the top, right? Like, so many people are suffering to such a great extent that if I was able to be on the top, it means that, like, I'm not helping people. I'm not doing enough to, like, help those around me. Because I couldn't be on the top and help all of the people that I want to help. It's just not possible. Like, I actually don't even think it's realistically possible at all. Like, me as a single person can't do shit. We need to change the systems in place that lead people to feel so, like, powerless, right? Like, there's no reason that people should be feeling the way that they feel. In a society with the kind of access that we have.
It's like, who wouldn't want to be there? Who would want to be at the bottom? That's why people, I think it's like a biological thing.
I don't want to be at the bottom either, because the bottom isn't great. But, like, I think I'd rather be at the bottom, because, like, at least here, right? Like, and I live in America. So, like, at least in America, 98% of people are at the bottom, figuratively speaking. Like, 2% is at the top. There's, like, hundreds of millions of people. That's thousands of people that are at the top. I'd rather be with the other millions and millions of people. I don't know. There's so many people that, like, it doesn't make sense to me how I could live at the top. And I don't want to be at the bottom, but I don't want to be at the top all alone. Or, like, in a way that, like, I don't know. I don't want people to be suffering, TBH, in my own personal head.
To, like, get a dopamine boost when people around you are failing. And another thing, too, about competition, I'm not exactly sure, like, don't quote me on this, but I think in first world countries, more men are typically born than women, and in third world countries, more women tend to be born than men. But, you know, even if this isn't true, one thing I always, you know, like going back to the survival aspect thing, I think the reason too, like why there's so many, like especially my generation, you know, dudes just sitting at home rotting, you know, like on their computers, because, you know, if we were way back, you know, years ago, we would either be shitty hunters, probably have been eaten by something, you know, and the only reason why we're here today is because of all these modern advancements. And I don't really think that humans have evolved to you know, adapt to this type of environment, you know. I mean, even just look at how quickly the world has changed within the past, like, I don't know, even like just 1,000 years, you know, 1,000, 2,000, how quickly, you know, technology just kind of changed everything so quick.
Yeah, I agree. We're actually in the singularity. I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about this, but I make videos like everywhere. But we're in the singularity, right? Because it's like the point where technology takes off. And like you said, in the last 1,000 years, 2,000 years, we've had so many technological advances that, like, we're living in a goated time. And, like, people today can take themselves to different levels than anybody in our past generations. Like, just me, for example, I am taking medication to change my body to let me live a life that is more in line with the life that I feel that is best for me. In this case, it's a life as a woman. Because, like you, I hate the fucking male social role. I hate the limitations placed on me. I hate the competition and the lack of connection and the lack of real friendships. And, like, the people that just want to use you because you're just a guy, right? I hate that. And I did not want to do that anymore. So, like, I'm out of it. And there's more reasons, of course. Like, personally, I feel like I like the way that I am, like, aesthetically as a girl more. And, like, as a girl, I don't know if you see me as a girl. I don't really care if you see me as a girl. I like when I look more feminine. I look more feminine now than I looked before my transition. I feel better now than I did then. I like this, right? And, like, to the technology we have access to is the reason for this. And, like, we live in such a cool time because you could just, like, purpose cope. You could be like, I'm going to work my job. I'm going to work a 65-year career. Or you can be like, I fucking hate my... Or then, like, hate your life the whole time. Or you can be like, I hate my life, right? I've hated my life for a lot of years. I have not liked the way that I've been treated. I have not liked the way that, like, society treats me. I don't like the way that, like, it is to be this way. let me change it and be different. And like, you can. People are doing it, right? Like, people are doing it. Even like the guy that makes all this AI predictions, he said this about like people that like they're gonna transition because it's better for individuals to transition, right? Like for specific individuals who are not living a good life as the gender that they have been trying to live a good life as, they may benefit from trying something new, right? What does Einstein say? The definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. Like, well, if being a guy is not working, and being a guy is not the vibes, and being a guy is not making you feel so good inside, why are you still trying to be a guy, you know? That's why I am not being a guy. Anyways. Sorry to keep pausing.
And I don't think people have adapted to this lifestyle yet, and that's why reproduction is number one, because survival gone, don't have to worry about shit. That's why there's all of these dudes down bad. Where's the women? Where's the women? Because we're bored as fuck. You know, you don't have to worry about survival. You know, the worry of survival would keep your mind off of reproducing. And I feel like they both kind of go hand in hand together. You know, like, oh, I gotta stay alive. All that shit. Because like,
I agree with that, actually. I think that in the past, right, when like more survival work needed to be done, I imagine that it was a lot harder to stay alive. You probably reproduced less. You probably thought about sex less as you're like fighting off predators and like hunting for food and shit, and like doing a bunch of shit that's like real life hard. And like, in our modern day society, you're right that we don't really have to survive as hard like that. Like, you just go to work, and then you don't have to like fight a bear or some shit. You don't have to fight a tiger. You don't have to go hunt a mammoth. You just go to the grocery store, right? Like, it's not the same. And there are a lot of people that turn to sex or like relationships so that they can give their purpose away. Like, what do I do to fill my time? I will provide for somebody else so that they can have a purpose and they can live their life, right? But then like, that's not even what happens, right? So again, like the idea that is of like what I think is a good idea is like becoming your own purpose and like becoming your own girlfriend. Like, why should you be giving your labor and your effort and your like utilitarianness away to somebody else and letting them dictate how you should be as a person, who you should be as a person, and all that, and like not living your life, you know? Like, oh my god.
Like I said in the beginning, humans are animals. We're no different. We're nothing special. I always hate that shit. Like we're special because we're smart and unique and we have thoughts and feelings.
No, we're not.
You want to know what would be crazy? Like, can you imagine this? Like, in years to come, let's say another species just somehow evolves to be exactly as intelligent.
Okay, look, right? Oh my gosh. I'll let you finish this, but I have
as
something.
us. Like, let's say, for example, I don't know, dogs, because everyone loves dogs. Let's
Why
say
dogs?
all of a sudden they evolve to, talk, all that stuff. That they're pretty much just like us, like, on the IQ scale.
They're not.
Then what would happen? What would happen to religion?
Listen, because AI is already here, right? AI is going to be way better than us. It's way smarter than us. And you're right. You're 100% correct that, like, humans are not special. We're just like every other organism. She
looks like every other bitch. Like,
animals, they're just like us. Dogs, they're just like us. Like, we have language, right? Language helps us be better. But AI and, like, artificial technology is also going to have language. Oh my gosh, so cool. Anyways, so that's coming. It's here. It's already in our, like, reality. It's so cool. Anyways, point being, I agree that, like, we live in a reality now that is not quite to the level of needing to just reproduce and survive, right? Because now we are living in a more virtualized world, which there's this guy called Sam Vaknin. He's a really smart guy. He talks about, like, mental health stuff. But he, in one of his videos, he talks about the idea that, like, cities or, like, urban areas are, like, areas of virtualization, right? Because people are now using more of their brain and less of their body. Whereas more rural or, like, agricultural areas are more, like, physical. They're less virtualized because you're more hands-on, right? You're doing shit. You're trying to survive, right? There's more that you have to do, I think, was the general idea. Whereas, like, virtualized areas, you go to the grocery store. You're, like, pretending to hunt by going to the grocery store. You're pretending to go, like, hunt for food by going to work, kind of thing. Okay, so then, moving to that, the internet is an even more virtual, like, reality, right? And, like, this is allowing us to live in ways that we haven't been able to in all of the rest of history. And, like, we live in a incredibly goated time to be, like, superhuman. I don't know. Like, it's fucking cool. We are superhuman. And, yeah, I don't know. Why be a rotter when you can be hotter than you are right now, right? That's what I'm saying.
You know, because then they'd be like, well, wait, why aren't we in the Bible? Why do we go to heaven too? Right? I wonder, I don't know, it's kind of like interesting to think about. But, yeah, you know, that's my thoughts on brotherhood, man. Like, just know that these people out there, they really aren't your friend. They may say they are, but everyone really has their own motives and all that shit.
Probably.
Looking back at my friends, all that stuff, none of it was ever worth it. It really wasn't. Just for me to be alone to this very day. So yeah, choose who you talk to wisely. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and just to, like, I don't know, summarize it up at the end, I do agree that, like, a lot of my guy friendships, they were really difficult. We weren't really, like, connecting with each other. We weren't, I don't know, it was just not the same. Like, I don't know, the friendships I develop now, there's more of them, right? Like you said, I'm not gonna say that all women live a faster life, but, like, I personally live a much faster life now. In some regards, other people want to interact with me more now than they did before. And that feels good in a lot of ways, right? It's nice for me in many regards. But the bad side of this is that, like, they want things, right? I have to trust people less because they all just want something. It's similar to how it was before, but at least before, like, I don't know. Not everybody wanted something from me. Well, they did. They were just, like, less obvious of it. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. But the friendships that I have that are close and I'm able to connect with are so much deeper than I could have before. Like, I connect with other women, and especially other trans women, or, like, gender non-conforming people, and just neurodivergent people. I connect with people so much better now than I did before, because I've let down so many of the barriers that I was holding myself to be a man, to be a guy, to, like, have all these standards. And, like, I don't know. I've learned so much with this journey, and I definitely do recommend that you check out Tina's channel. Tina talks about all this stuff. She just made an incels guide to transmaxing, actually, which is pretty base. You should check it out. Anyways, so I love you, but I'm out of here, and goodbye.